At 2:47 p.m. this afternoon, inside the New York headquarters of 10X Commercial, the auctioneer lowered his gavel and closed one of the most closely watched real estate sales in recent memory. After calling for higher offers 3 separate times and hearing none, the final bid stood uncontested. The number, $412 million. That bid secured ownership of the property long known as Trump Tower. Prior to its seizure by the IRS, the building had been appraised at $530 million. The final sale price came in roughly 22% below that valuation. Moments after the auction ended, the winning bidder was publicly identified. According to the auction company's official announcement, the buyer is Silverstein Properties, a New York-based development firm led by Larry Silverstein. 16 minutes later, at 3:03 p.m., Silverstein Properties held a press conference directly in front of the Fifth Avenue building. Standing before cameras and reporters, Larry Silverstein delivered a statement that immediately reverberated across the city. He confirmed the purchase price of $412 million and announced that the property would be renamed effective immediately. The building formerly known as Trump Tower would become Silverstein Tower. All Trump branding, he said, would be removed within 30 days as part of what he described as a new chapter for one of Fifth Avenue's most recognizable addresses. By 3:34 p.m., that transition had already begun. Workers were seen removing the large gold letters spelling Trump from the building's facade. Over the next hour and a half, the process continued. By 5 p.m., the signage that had defined the structure for more than 4 decades was gone. For the first time in 41 years, the building no longer displayed the Trump name. What unfolded this afternoon was more than a standard property transaction. The building has long served as the central symbol of the Trump real estate empire. It housed Trump's penthouse, functioned as headquarters for the Trump Organization, and played a major role in launching his presidential campaign. Its sale marks a significant shift in ownership and identity for one of New York's most recognizable landmarks. The auction itself began earlier in the day at 10 a.m. in a conference room at 10X Commercial's Manhattan office. Approximately 200 prospective buyers had registered, including developers, investment firms, and international investors. The opening bid was set at $371 million, which represented 70% of the building's most recent $530 million appraisal and served as the reserve price. Just 3 minutes after bidding opened, the first offer came in at the reserve amount from an anonymous participant joining by phone. At 10:07 a.m., a second bidder entered the competition with a $380 million offer. That bidder was later confirmed to be Silverstein Properties. From there, the auction progressed steadily over the next 2 hours, with bids increasing in increments ranging from $5 million to $10 million. By noon, the price had reached $400 million. 4 bidders remained active at that point. At 12:34 p.m., one participant withdrew. Roughly 40 minutes later, at 1:15 p.m., another dropped out, leaving just 2 serious contenders. By 2 p.m., the auction paused for a 30-minute break as the remaining bidders, Silverstein Properties and an investment group based in Dubai, consulted with financial advisors. Bidding resumed at 2:30 p.m. Within minutes, the pace accelerated toward its conclusion. At 2:41 p.m., Silverstein placed a bid of $410 million. 3 minutes later, the Dubai group countered with $411 million. Then, at 2:47 p.m., Silverstein submitted what would become the final offer, $412 million. The auctioneer asked for additional bids 3 times. None came. The gavel fell, confirming the sale. As the afternoon progressed, more details about the transaction began to surface. At 3:47 p.m., it was confirmed that the $412 million purchase price would be directed to the U.S. Treasury as partial payment toward Donald Trump's reported $3.8 billion tax debt. Following this sale, that debt is reduced to approximately $3,388 billion. Officials have indicated that 46 additional properties are expected to be auctioned in the coming months. Silverstein Properties announced that it will officially take possession of the building on February 1st. Existing tenants, including retail businesses on the lower floors and residential occupants above, will remain under their current lease agreements. However, building management responsibilities will transfer to Silverstein. The penthouse occupying the top 3 floors, once used as Trump's residence, was included in the overall structure and therefore transferred with the building. It has reportedly remained vacant since Trump moved to the White House in 2017. Reactions from real estate experts began emerging by late afternoon. Analysts noted the 22% discount relative to the previous appraisal and debated whether the final price represented a bargain or a reflection of changing market conditions. Some pointed to the cost of rebranding and potential reputational considerations that may have influenced bidding. Others emphasized the enduring value of the Fifth Avenue location itself. By early evening, Silverstein Properties released preliminary plans for the building's transformation. The first phase focuses on immediate rebranding, including removal of all Trump-related signage throughout the property and installation of new Silverstein Tower branding. Additional phases will involve interior renovations, retail leasing strategies, and residential upgrades aimed at increasing the building's value over time. The events of this single afternoon, from the opening bid at 10 a.m. to the removal of the final letters by early evening, mark a decisive shift in the identity and ownership of one of New York's most recognizable properties. By late afternoon, the broader implications of the sale were becoming clearer as additional information emerged about what happens next for the building and its new ownership. Silverstein Properties outlined a multi-phase plan designed to reposition the property and increase its long-term value. The first phase centers on immediate rebranding. According to the company, all Trump signage throughout the building, including exterior lettering, lobby displays, and elevator branding, will be removed within 30 days. New signage bearing the name Silverstein Tower is scheduled to replace it. The goal, executives said, is to complete the visual transition quickly and establish a new identity for the address. Phase 2 focuses on renovations to the building's interior. The well-known lobby, recognized for its pink marble surfaces and gold detailing, will undergo a redesign intended to create a more modern aesthetic. Silverstein estimates the renovation will cost approximately $15 million and expects completion by June. The company believes an updated look will help reposition the property for a new generation of tenants and visitors. Phase 3 addresses retail leasing. Several high-end retail tenants have left in recent years, and Silverstein plans to offer competitive lease terms to attract new businesses back to the property. Executives say restoring a strong retail presence will be critical to increasing foot traffic and enhancing the building's commercial appeal. Phase 4 involves upgrades to residential amenities. Planned improvements include a new fitness center, enhanced common areas, improved security, and updated shared spaces designed to make the residential units more competitive with other luxury buildings in Manhattan. Silverstein's long-term projection is that these combined improvements could raise the property's value to $600 million within 5 years. Meanwhile, responses to the sale continued to develop. At 5:34 p.m., a statement attributed to Donald Trump was released through his attorneys. In the statement, he argued that the property had been sold for significantly less than its true value and described the transaction as forced. He asserted that the building was worth substantially more than the $412 million final bid and criticized the process, calling it a fire sale. He also expressed strong objections to the removal of his name from the building and framed the situation as a loss of legacy rather than a simple business transaction. Shortly afterward, Larry Silverstein addressed those comments during a televised interview on CNBC. He emphasized that the auction had been competitive and open, noting the presence of approximately 200 registered bidders. According to Silverstein, the final price reflected market conditions rather than any external influence. He also explained that the decision to remove the Trump name was based on business considerations, stating that some tenants had privately indicated they would be more likely to remain in the building once the branding changed. He characterized the move as a practical step aligned with market realities. Public reaction across New York quickly became divided. By early evening, social media platforms were filled with images of the building's facade after the removal of the gold lettering. Some users welcomed the change, describing it as overdue and symbolic. Others criticized the renaming, arguing that removing the historic branding erased part of the building's identity. By 7:00 p.m., small groups of demonstrators had gathered outside the building, roughly split between supporters and critics of the decision. Tenants also began speaking with reporters. A longtime residential occupant described feeling relieved by the removal of the Trump name, explaining that living in the building had become politically charged in recent years. Another tenant who operates a retail store expressed hope that new ownership would bring stability and attract customers back. A third resident, identifying as a supporter of Trump, said the name change felt like a loss of identity for those who purchased units specifically because of the building's association. Over the next month, several key indicators will reveal how the transition unfolds. Observers will watch how quickly the remaining signage is replaced, whether any tenants choose to leave, and whether new retailers sign leases under the new branding. Public reaction will also play a role in shaping the building's future reputation. Additionally, analysts will track whether the property's valuation increases after renovations are completed and whether any legal challenges emerge regarding the sale. Three potential outcomes are being discussed by analysts. In one scenario, the rebranding proceeds smoothly. Renovations are completed on schedule, and the building attracts new tenants and retailers. If that occurs, the property's value could rise significantly over the next several years, validating the purchase. In a second scenario, controversy continues despite the name change, making it more difficult to attract new tenants and slowing any increase in value. A third possibility involves legal challenges that could complicate or delay aspects of the transition, though many experts consider that outcome less likely given the structure of the auction. The building's history adds context to why this sale carries such significance. Completed in 1983 at a cost of $300 million, the 58-story mixed-use structure includes retail space, offices, and luxury condominiums. Trump acquired the land in 1979 during a period when parts of Fifth Avenue were struggling economically. The project's eventual success helped raise his national profile and became a central element of his business identity. The building also served as the headquarters of the Trump Organization and was prominently featured in his 1987 book, The Art of the Deal. In 2015, it was the site where he announced his presidential campaign after descending the building's escalator into the atrium. For decades, the tower functioned not only as a real estate asset, but also as a symbol of brand identity and personal legacy. Now, following a 4-hour and 47-minute auction and a series of rapid developments in a single afternoon, ownership has changed hands and a new chapter has begun. The property has been sold, renamed, and is entering a period of transformation that will shape its future role in New York's real estate landscape.